farming space. It should be easy for you to do that. You shouldn't have to struggle or have to go through government and all these things. It should be about reaching out to other startups who are like, and that's essentially what we're trying to create. And the reason we're creating this app is we're hoping that by proving our business case that there's activity in Kenya and there's activity that has got a relationship with South Africa, then we can do business together. And if we can do that well, we've got a bank that is powering South Africa. It's a new partnership, Standard Bank. Here you go, you guys call themselves, you call them Stanbic, correct? Yeah. And what Stanbic is looking for is a pipeline of fintech entrepreneurs. They're looking for entrepreneurs within the fintech space. Entrepreneurs that are creating solutions that can solve banking problems. And entrepreneurs that they can invest in and take global. That is the primary goal of the bank. We do have other partners. One of our biggest partners in South Africa is South African Breweries, that is SAP Kickstart. We've partnered with the Enterprise Development Program. So that essentially just means we haven't gone for the main brand in terms of pushing alcohol sales. We've gone for the subsidiary that focuses on programs that enable entrepreneurship in South Africa. And that is pretty much the model that we are trying to roll out as we get into each country that we get into. We currently have a presence in 9 South African cities, in 2 cities in Botswana. Kenya, Nairobi will be our first one. And we're hoping that we can have a warm reception from you guys. And we're hoping that we can build a community here that is sustainable, and then we can bring the corporate sector closer to that. And what we are doing on our side is to ensure that the South African corporates that are looking for market companies across Africa, they can come and invest in these new markets, and we can be that platform that helps them to source their entrepreneurs and show them how they can invest in these communities. And that is why we've really come here and come to get together. So just to explain the nature of the program in terms of the mic working guys. Just to explain how the program will run for the evening. We've got 3 segments, and they're very crucial for us. The first segment is called Just Pitch What We Do. It's an elevator pitch competition, 3 minutes, very informal. You get here, you stand in front of the audience, you pitch your idea or your business, 3 minutes. And that means that it's 180 seconds, that's why we call it Just Pitch What We Do. And the big idea is that it's not a dragon's den. The community that we have here is the one that rates you. We give you feedback. The key thing here is we're here to build each other. And our key slogan for the Hookup Dinner is we'll come to connect with each other. We'll come to contribute. We'll come to engage with each other and then contribute to each other's success. That simply means that, it's an African thing, it's nothing new. It's called Ubuntu. I know that there's a local Swahili word. What is it? Can somebody help? What is Ubuntu? We'll call it Ubuntu University. All right. And that is essentially what we're trying to achieve. We're trying to make sure that the very inherent nature of what already exists within the African space, we can leverage off that. The conversations that start here within this room, they shouldn't end here. They should be getting online, and beyond getting online, they should be having new hookups that are happening, and that can transcend into business deals. And we're hoping that we can have that type of impact coming out of this platform. So remember that as a key thing. When you are pitching on the platform, the audience is not out to break you. We're a very protected community of startups. So we're out to say, yeah, the way you pitched it, or your idea, I didn't understand when you said X, Y, Z. Why didn't you try that? So have you tried this? Have you thought about that? So just by virtue, when you start thinking about that, it's a very nurturing environment. It's almost like an incubation hub type of thing. You know? In an incubation hub, it's like you staying with your parents. When you move out of home, life gets tough. And that's essentially what we're trying to do. We're trying to prepare entrepreneurs and startups to build their confidence here, and then move from this platform and get into serious pitching competition. We can introduce them into in terms of the pipeline that. So that is the elevator pitch competition. That's the initial one. Okay, 5 people will pitch, and we will rate them accordingly, and we'll select a winner at the end of the evening, and we'll take a bit of prize money out. This kind of prize money is not the kind of prize money that builds your business. It literally pays for your petrol.
Can you? Thank you. My voice was going. So the kind of prize money that you will what it's meant to do is just encourage a startup. If you've got admin costs, if you've got petrol costs, it's meant to take care of that. It doesn't really give you startup funding for your business. It's not that type of money that comes out of this. We'll announce that later. And then we've got a second part of the program that we really love. It's called the networking mixer. How many of you are here at NILAB for the first time? Just by a show of hands. So there's a few of us, and that is beautiful. The big idea here is, with the networking mixer, we've got 10 minutes. We split up into groups of 10. You've got a minute each. You introduce yourself to that group. So you've got to be careful here. It's not a one-on-one session. It's a group session. And by having a group session, you're making sure that you introduce yourself to a wider network. What does that do for you? The moment the networking session is over, once the official program is over, now you've got common ground. I can now say to you, oh yeah, you work with development programs. Tell me more about what, because a lot of us are shy within the networking space. We attend so many networking sessions, and by virtue of that, majority of the time, we will probably speak to one or two people, just by a shy nature. That is the reason why I started. I know I look like I'm a bold person, but in private, I'm a very private person who's pretty shy. I just shine when I'm on my own platform because I created. But naturally, it's hard for me to connect with new individuals. And we created a space like this so that we can solve some of those problems around networking. And the networking means that I promise you will love it. It will be one of the best things that come out of this. And then the third segment, we call it the rainmaker. The rainmaker is somebody that has walked the journey. They are not necessarily presenting an expert view of the theme that we have selected, but they're presenting insights based on their journey. So quote them at your own risk, or when you are sharing stats, or when you're talking with investors, when you start quoting what the rainmaker said, that is at your own risk. The rainmaker cannot be held reliable for that. They come to share their journey according to how they've seen it, and according to what has been happening in their journey in terms of the startup space. And that is very important. And it's an inspirational platform. So the rainmaker is here not just to inspire or offer a motivational talk, but they come to get insights around the theme that we have chosen. So for this month, across South Africa, we're going with the innovation theme. And that plugs directly into what Standard Bank is focusing on. In them looking for a pipeline of fintech entrepreneurs, they're looking for innovation. Innovation is the key thing. And it would be nice to hear Dr. Rosenberg share a bit more about that. And we're really looking forward to that session later in the evening. And without wasting too much time, we're going to first introduce NILAB, the guys that are hosting us here, and they will give us a very short talk. And yeah, where's Lynn? You can talk. Oh, okay. Let's get into the pitches then. So the representative from NILAB will come in after because he's still writing things. Okay, thank you.
Yes. So good evening. You guys are looking lovely. Yeah. So basically, we are the Hookup Dinner, and we're going to do a simple introduction to show you our ripple effect across Africa. The Hookup Dinner isn't simply an event that's occurring in Kenya. It's something that began in the year 2000, just as Sele Bogo has introduced, and it's one of the largest entrepreneurial cultures and startup events that have really grow out of Africa. We know of Startup Weekend. We know of other startup events that have come from outside and being done in Kenya and across Africa. But the Hookup Dinner is the first in Africa, the first startup culture, the first startup event to grow and broaden its wings across Africa and beyond. Yeah, so I'm going to do a simple introduction with a short video showing what exactly we have done in the past few years, the past few months. Thank you.
Just buy me time.
So to start with, Lebo has a simple activity for each of us, and there's a prize. And it's a very huge prize, And I'm going to ask a very simple question. And you're going to participate. You're going to give me the answers, and we'll see who wins. And the question is, what will you do with 10,000 Kenya shillings? Given 10,000 Kenya shillings, I want you to run it through your mind. And the best idea is going to win something very huge. Yes. So I'm going to choose very randomly. That's all. How it's running through your mind. What will you do with 10,000 Kenya shillings? Something phenomenal, something extraordinary. I can see some ideas. Yeah. Let me give this very beautiful lady at the back.
Hi, my name is Benedict. My name is Isaac. Yeah, with 10,000 shillings, okay, I run an online store for handmade accessories. And what we're doing right now is we're trying to add a bunch of uniqueness to it. So we are creating raw materials for some of our accessories that we create. So with 10,000 shillings, I will create these from sand. The experiment I've done. So.
Wow, creating beans from sand. I have never thought of that. Round of applause for the beautiful lady. Let's have another person telling us what you do with 10,000 Kenya shillings. How will you buy a suit with 10,000 Kenya shillings? Yes.
Good evening. My name is Robert Vigai, and we have a startup. So, given 10,000 shillings right now, I would just add it to the daily expenses that we do with that.
As working capital. Oh, wonderful. Round of applause for this gentleman. Yes, my very beautiful friend.
We would probably give it to our partner organization, Naya, and get them a really nice promo video. I don't think she did the videos now or not. Something like that.
Nice. So you're going to give it in promotion.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Round of applause for her. We have someone else. Let me give you a hint of the prize because it appears we have no side for it. So the prize might be something you mentioned. Huh? Yes. Kenyans love this.
Hi, my name is Awi. We are working on a project called Wazi. One is Swahili word for openness. So we're building an online platform that will help the Kenyan electorates to participate in the making of the law. So what they'll do is they'll be able to vote for the proposal bills and collaborate and actually share and give their proposal comments on the proposal bill. So they are currently running a crowdfunding. So I'll use the 10,000 the problem also because it's the goal that we want to reach.
That's amazing. We have two final contestants. What will you do with 10,000?
Hi guys, good evening. My name is Patrick. I run a small web development project. It's called Tenderhost. You can find us at tenderhost.com. With 10,000 shillings, I would just like $100. So I'll try to go to Fiverr. Fiverr.com is a place for outsourcing small jobs. So I would basically outsource like 10 guys to market us out there for the for with $100, pay each of them the $5 so that we can increase the world somehow.
So he's running one nomination with 10,000 achievements. So that's our final guy. And I'm going to do a simple recap of each and every person at the end, and we're going to know who wins. So my name is Geoffrey Mulay, and I'm the founder and CEO of Mikisha, and I'm also the director of Kenyan engagement for the Hookup Dinner in Kenya. And I present the Hookup Dinner.
Hi, my name is Lebo Kamulita, and I'm Kakiso Sotexi, and we started Lifescope Global Investments.
A unique company in Johannesburg built on beanbags.
We started off obviously with beanbags, manufacturing them and selling them, and as well as renting them out to events. And that led us to starting events, and the networking movement that we have is the Hookup Dinner, which connects entrepreneurs, where we connect, engage, and contribute to each other's success on a monthly basis.
The Hookup Dinner is the official name of a networking event and the latest startup of Life's Good Global Investments. This startup doesn't sell a product or deliver a service, but it makes money through addressing a need within the startup community.
Initially, the Hookup Dinner came up because there was a need. We've been to so many networking functions, and we always feel disconnected. And from that, I started getting together with other entrepreneurs who needed the same type of vibe that I was looking for. And before we knew it, we were gathering month after month, just getting together over drinks and talking about business. It was almost like a healing therapy session.
Instead of asking entrepreneurs and startup founders an exorbitant entrance fee, which many won't be able to afford, the Hookup Dinner makes money by attracting advertisers and sponsors.
We started realizing that our business model is actually advertising. And we get these entrepreneurs together, we hook them up with business opportunities, and there's actually corporate South Africa that wants to plug into this community. And that's the sponsorship that we sold, and that's how we're making our profit currently.
At night, the magic moves to a hip club in Josie's upmarket precinct, Gaborone.
This is where we basically host the Hookup Dinner. Tonight, we're having at least about 250 to 300 people that are attending. People basically come and have a seat here. The pitching is normally happening right in the front. We've got a Twitter wall that's going to be running, an open bar over there. It's a very chilled out, very casual platform.
Organizing events and managing an unconventional startup like this one comes with its fair share of challenges.
As a startup, our biggest challenge initially was about vision, having a clear vision of where we are taking this. And once we came over that, it was about managing our cash flow. Because with an event like this, you spend a lot of money initially before you can see the returns.
Shared risk, shared profits, and shared ideas. Collaboration is what the Hookup Dinner is all about. And the future hope is to expand into Africa to connect 1 million African startups.
If you want to start a business, start now. This is the best time ever. The world is in chaos. And when there's chaos, there's opportunity. And entrepreneurs are the ones that are going to solve the problems of the world.
All right, thank you guys. Can you just bring back the live screen screen? It just runs away from it sometimes. All right, guys, we're going to get straight into the pitches now. All right, can we get Sam to come up, please? Yeah. And yeah, Adam.
Hi guys. But what can I do? So, I'd like you to share.
Oh, hi guys. How you doing? Hello?
Hi. Are you like really break it first?
No, hey. Hey guys, how you doing? Botswana. Okay, very true. I know I see very few familiar faces. Hey, hi. Well, my name is Chiru. I'm the founder of Nairobi. I'm not the MD, but yes, I'm one of the guys who founded the space. What can I tell you about the space? It's been running for 3 years and a half now. We've invested in about 35 startups. Not really invested. We've graduated about 35 startups. We've invested in about 15 of them. We used to do a 12-month program, now we're doing a 6-month program, where the first 3 months is product development, the last 3 months is business development. And we increased our funding from 300,000 to $1 million Kenya shillings. That's in case you're asking for $1 million. So it's a million Kenya shillings, but not everybody who joins the program gets $1 million. Okay, it's the people who actually show that they actually agree and they want to do what brought them to this space. We have a big team. We have Eunice at the back. We've got Christine who's not here. We've got Lee. We've got Billy who's at Cambridge. We've got Ray and a bunch of other people who work with every entrepreneur in the space to make sure that the product has been developed and a lot of other things are happening. Maybe I can just take 2 or 3 questions and I'm done. Quick questions you might have about the space. I just came back from home quickly to just selling me out. Any question? Okay, right now we're open for applications. You just go online, nairobi.co.ke/apply. There's a big form that you need to fill. It redirects you to ideasafrica.com, which is also a Naira product. It's a portal with about us. The last I checked, must be about 1,200 entrepreneurs across Africa signed up. So you go there, you fill in your idea, you say who your co-founders are, you say what your idea is. Just very brief, something that we can understand. We have a prototype, we have a better chance of getting into space. We have a technical co-founder, we have a better chance of getting into space. A lot of people keep asking us whether we are an IT incubator. No, we're a business incubator. IT is a tool, okay? And we want to use IT to scale your business. Okay, so we don't want people coming over here thinking, I'm just going to build an app. We're not very interested in apps, we're interested in business. They're afraid over there, there's shoes. You can see the guy with the coin that time. There's shoes. These guys do fashion. That guy is into food. Where is he? He's around. I saw him right now. Okay, that guy over there in the mirror is in tasks. I'm sure he's supposed to be somewhere around the space. The other guys were in wearable devices. So we're looking for businesses that can use IT to scale. Okay, for that frame was very simple. E-commerce, refine the process, and that kind of stuff. Okay, so I've answered 2 questions. 1, it's not IT businesses, and 2, you just apply online and you just want to know that you're technically capable of doing what needs to be done and whether you have all the right things in place, like actual prototype, something to talk with. Okay? Second question. No, you have to apply online. Every time applications come in, you have got hundreds of applications, and have to narrow down to 10, and right now we're narrowing from hundreds to 6. So I don't even mentor people outside the space anymore. I used to do that quite often, but now I don't do it. It's too much work. When you're in the space, there's a process, there's people, there are guru speakers coming in, and there's a better chance for you to actually get your pitch refined, get your product refined. Yeah. And also because we're only interested in making sure that the people we are actually working with are people we put our money into as well. Yeah. Final question before I go back and take my tea. Nobody asked me what I can do with the 10,000 goal. Yep.
Do you have like space that you charge like entrepreneurs who want space?
Absolutely not. This space is free as long as you have been accepted into the space. We have 100 meg internet connection shared between us. I see Jessica is over there, MLab, and 88 MPH. Okay? So we have high-speed internet access. The space is open 24 hours, 7 days a week. You can come and work anytime, any place. You don't have to wear a suit like him. You can come in jeans and sneakers. So yeah, no space for rent. Okay? That's it. Thank you very much, guys. By the way, I was supposed to wear suits. Those who know me well will tell you. All right, we're going to get straight into the pictures. Does anybody have a program? Just show up your hands if you don't have a program so they can distribute it quickly. All right, the first pitch of the evening comes from Benedette. Please forgive me if I pronounce the second incorrectly. Benedette Kakwa. Is it Kakwa? I know in South Africa I would say Kakwa. And just so that you remember, you listen to the pitch, we give feedback, maximum 3, and then we vote.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Benedict. I run a startup called Minji Online Store. It's a fully branded online store for handmade accessories, gift items, and home decorations. So with me here, I just brought a sample which I'd like to show. As I said, it's fully branded. So our idea is to create customized designs for every customer. And our innovation right now is we're going to be using computer-aided designing, jewelry design software, so that when the shopper goes online, they can be able to customize each product to fit their personal taste. That way, we cut down on time and energy spent on sending us emails, which is what we have been doing right now, receiving emails for custom orders. So if the customer is able to customize the designs online, that way they're able to get a 3D rendering or even 2D rendering of the end result, and then they'll be able to also do the payment online. So with me here, I have a sample of a design which I created. I do the base designs, and then the artisans do the creation. So this would be one of the designs that would be uploaded on the online catalog, and then the customer can pick a design, either if they want a pendant with two circles or 3 circles or whatever. And then what can add a touch of personalization is whereby the customer will be allowed to append a personal name signature before they check out. So that personal name signature, electronically of course, is what we are going to append at the lower section of our item tags, so that the customer can feel like they're actually having a designer label which is personalized to them. So probably can just take this round. There's a number of our pieces in there, which everyone can have a look at. And then something else is we're also going into designing or creating our own raw materials. Like I mentioned earlier, we are creating glass things from sand. So that is something we have also experimented on, and it has been a success. So that way we can be able to have raw materials that are different from our counterparts, because we are the only ones who have the formula to it. So that's basically my startup.
Since you get to the end, not back. My lady. Now the following benefits. Just come with the lights. Can we get 2 or 3 questions or feedback about the pitch?
Questions, feedback?
Hi. My question is, you're talking about customers customizing their products. What do you mean by customizing?
Okay, when they go online, because it's an online store, we're trying to incorporate market, since it's already in the developed world. Now, the software that we're going to have, it's going to run on the online platform of the website, will allow the customer to modify the design within certain parameters that we will have set. Say, like the sample I gave, if someone wants a pendant which has 3 circles or 4 or anything else, so you can either have that as one parameter, you can have another parameter as the color, or probably the width of the pendant. Those are the kind of customizations that we're talking about. Because we want every piece, the core concept of our business is to break down the monotony of duplicated designs that are common in the modern and ready-made fashion. So we want every piece to be unique to the shopper. You can see something you like, but probably you want maybe a different color or a different twist here or there. So you can do that while you're still shopping.
Thank you. I think, my name is Howie. I think you have a great idea. What is so different about from others? Because everybody is talking about taking jewelries putting them on the net. Also difficult. The last one is that people who make money have gone to the lowest people who do not have enough money. So how are you going to make it possible for someone who does not have enough money to access your portal?
Okay. To address your first question about the uniqueness of our idea, for one, handmade accessories, for the most part, they come in duplicated designs. If you notice, even if you go to the Maasai market or anything, they normally, especially when it goes into mass production, there's that loss of unique design and personalization. And for us, we are a fully branded online store. So there are brands which are for handmade, but not all of them have an online platform for people to shop. And on the other hand, you can have an online shop, but probably it's not fully branded. Like Kazuri, it's a brand, but it doesn't have an online store. And we're also now using technology to come up with design, to help us with the design. So that's a step forward from our counterparts. Most are still doing the amateur way of designing, whereby you just use sketch by hand. But now we are actually incorporating technology into it. And your second question about making the product available to those of probably lower income. You see, we are working towards having our own artisans, such that instead of going to different artisans who probably are servicing other people at the same time, and costs will be higher. If we have our own artisans, then we are able to lower the cost of production, and of course that trickles down to the end consumer. So our products will be unique, personalized, but then again at rates that are competitive.
All right. So you know what to do, right? Everybody's got pens. Just a simple rating. If you feel the pitch was weak, you put an X under 1. If you feel the pitch was great, you put an X under 4. So you just follow the line across at the back. So she's the first pitch, and put an X under where you think she deserves it. The second pitch coming up, we've got Awil Osman.
Good evening. My name is Awil Osman. Before I tell you the solution that I already come up with, let me tell you my own story about the solution, the problem that I solved. Recently, we had several things that have been passed by the county assembly, the parliament, and the senate that were not favorable to the public, the electors. The only power that the Kenyans now have is they have to wait for 5 years so that they can vote and click an MP or a senator or the county assembly guy after 5 years. So, let's say there's a bill that has been tabled in Parliament. What we want to do is we want to build a solution, a web and online community portal that will help the electors, the Kenyan electors, to vote for that bill. To submit your proposals on a certain field, and at the same time you can cooperate with your friends. You can share it on Facebook, Twitter, and you'll be able to read. And then you will also know who actually proposed the bill and what it entails. And the other thing that we want to do is not just unveiling a copy of the draft bill, but we make sure that we have a version that is not written in low jargon. We'll put a version, an online video version, that will help the normal Kenyan who can read and write Swahili or understand English to understand what the bill entails. And then you have an idea of what the bill can help, how it can affect your life personally, or how it can affect you at an individual, at the county level, at the parliament, or with the content of the business. It will be a web app, a web online platform. You'll be able to register, and then how we want to control people just signing up for the web portal and picking out their votes. So we want to show that they actually voting for that bill. We want to have a very secure web platform that will control. You have to pay a certain amount of money using your, that will allow you to pay at least maybe 20 shilling or 30 shilling. The money is not made actually to generate revenue for the call. Make sure that it is very nice, that you're actually a real person. So you have to pay a certain amount of money when you're registering. You give your full names. So your full name that you're registered with, unless you have an M-Pesa account, so the names have to reflect so they can verify you as a person. So that we don't have random people signing up for the platform. And then you'll be able to vote for a bill, give your proposals, it happens. So currently how they do it is they're only professionals. Professionals who give their proposals on the bill. So it's on different levels. So as the Kenyans, we have we don't get that power to actually give proposals on bills that are on all the houses. And they do one.
We'll take questions, feedback.
Okay, I have understood your idea. It's a great one, but I have a problem with the payment. Huh? So you're asking us to pay capital for sign up.
The amount is not specified capital. What you want to just do is to pay them. Let's say you have 3 email addresses.
Yeah.
And now, let's say there's a very crucial pay that is being voted. Now, if you have 3 emails, that means how you can register with the 3 emails and vote for that bill 3 times. So we want to minimize that so that at least we can have the data that we'll be getting from. Let's say we want to show that this bill has been voted, let's say it is 68%, 70%. So we want to minimize to make sure that we don't have fraud. People will be signing up so they can vote and vote and vote. Yeah, that's actually what we okay. So we want to verify. And then we have also a way that we can define the tension. That's just for verification, not actually a model that you're paying fees or
Thank you. Yeah, my name is Felix. I want to ask, is there a way you can find, a better way of verifying if someone is staying? Because I think the better is the government is doing digital and they are saying by March next year, every Kenyan is supposed to have a digital ID. So isn't there a way people can sign up with their ID numbers, then maybe you can verify using the ID numbers because the records will be there instead of people paying?
We are non-partisan, so we are not lining up with the government. We are not waiting for the digital. We have our own solution. We are working for the Kenyan people. So we are not waiting for the digital team of the Kenyan team. We have our own way of verifying the Thank you very much.
And my name is Samuel. I'm wondering, considering that Kenyans, especially because I'm speaking to Kenyans, most of them tend to make ways a lot that they won't put their mouth where their money is. And in such a case, the parties will put their mouth in that, and like I'm thinking something about the KB, for example. You'll find the people who are affected are going to vote for it, but then the people who will be affected, or the people who are legitimate, they want to ignore it. And then how does that work? How do we ensure that we get objective opinion, and how do we make more money from it as well?
We are collaborating. We're not just doing the online part. We are rolling out the online platform, the web platform soon. And I will be also having representative for all the 47 countries. And we'll be having forums, one-on-one, like the one that we're having right now, so we can get the feedback from the people who don't have access to the web platform. So we are getting the feedback from the people in different ways, USSD, web, and mobile apps. So in the part where people are not voting and not what we want to do is like actually we want to upgrade. What we're doing is actually civic education through using technology. So we try our best to do it as much as we can using the web platform, mobile apps, and USSD, and actually going to the roads. Actually, we're talking about going to the county level and making sure that we take the bill to be heard, seen, and experience actually what it is, like in details.
All right. You know what to do, right? I don't need to explain that part again. Just put an X and what you believe. The next pitch comes from, is it Tanya or Tanya? Tanya. Okay.
Hi everyone, I'm Tanya Ngema and I'm passionate about business. I'm also the founder of Think Changes Media Limited, and I'm here to to talk about what we're doing to stimulate African conversations using business. But before I get into that, I've got a question for the crowd. Let me see by a show of hands how many people have a life aspiration of becoming professional politicians and or socialites. Let me see by a show of hands. Okay, great. Let me see by a show of hands how many people want to create sustainable businesses, successful businesses that create an impact in society and that create economic empowerment for themselves and their families. Okay, I wouldn't expect any less. That's why you're here, right? So this is the Kenyan statistic. Of the 14.2 million people in Kenya who are productively employed, 85% are in the informal sector, which means that just under 2 million people are employed by the formal sector. This is how I define the informal sector. You know you're in the informal sector if you don't have a standard, stable, fixed paycheck at the end of the month that comes with a pay slip. Or if you describe yourself as a hustler, you're in the informal sector. If there's this many people who want to get into entrepreneurship and who want to do their thing through business, why is it that every time you turn on the TV or the radio or the paper, all we're talking about is corruption and politics and scandal and salaciousness? Why aren't we having more conversations about business? So this is what Game Changers wants to do. We are a startup, we've registered, but we haven't started trading yet. We want to stimulate conversations and create content for TV, radio, and the internet that are going to spur entrepreneurs, existing and aspiring, to do what they truly want to do. A platform where they can go and find out, if I'm thinking of starting up a business, I have an idea but it hasn't been validated, where do I go for that? If I have been approached by an individual and they want to buy equity in my company and I'm trading, but I'm wondering whether to continue bootstrapping, where do I go for that? So we're going to create a couple of shows that actually talk about the pain points of entrepreneurs. So we've heard about all these success stories, we've watched TV, they come, they say, I struggled for 5 years and then I made it. But I, as an entrepreneur, want to know, when I wake up in the middle of the night and I don't have salaries to pay my staff at the end of the month, and I'm wondering, was this the wrong move? Should I go back to my corporate cushy job? Where should I go for that? That's the kind of content that we want to create. And we want to hook this up to social media so that we're continuously having conversations where the conversations are driven towards creating sustainable change, feeding back the conversations on social media into our shows, and at the same time to educate the public. And what better media to use than TV, radio, and the internet that reaches the most number of people. So that's what the engineers wants to do.
We'll take questions. Question, feedback?
Thanks for the great pitch. Who would your target market be in terms of the content that you're looking to create? How would you be able to attract these customers to your business?
Our target market is existing and aspiring entrepreneurs. It's business students, because we want to use the same shows as sort of live case studies to be taught in the business classes, and it's business professionals. It's basically anyone who has ever sat back and thought, I've got this corporate job, but at some point I think I want to do my own thing and I have this great idea of where do I go next, which is the demographic that I defined with the numbers at the beginning.
I think I'm here again. My question is that there's a lot of talks about sexuality, and every morning we talk about classic, we talk about Kiss FM, and we talk about so many medias and TV stations. Now we're talking about game changers here. How are you going to change that landscape? Because that's a big landscape, and we're talking about something good for this community.
Okay. I was in corporate for 13 years, and I know that when people see something good, they want to be associated with it. So the way to ensure that these conversations are going on, and we're having these conversations on TV and radio, is not to go to the networks. No offense to anyone who works for the networks, but it's to affiliate ourselves with the people, the organizations, the corporations, the institutions that we want to be aligned with us. So of course, if we're having a conversation about, let me take an example of this. We're having a conversation about entrepreneurs and about showing their great ideas. We would come to the Hookup Dinner and we would say, would you be interested in buying a spot for advertising? How we make our money? So when we go to the network, we're telling them, we don't even want you to pay for this content. Or if you pay for it, we're not asking for much. But what we want to do is we are bringing you a revenue sharing agreement, and we're saying we're going to split the proceeds of the advertising or the sponsorship with you, but just put this on air. And then at the same time, we ensure that we are very highly connected with social media. We have a buzz going on and we have a lot of conversations going on. And you know what? When networks see that people are interested in having conversations about business, then they really do not have any choice but to enjoy in that conversation.
One final one.
How do we get a hold of Game Changers?
Well, through me, I could give you my card, but also we're newly registered, so we've iterated and we have a proof of concept and we're showing it to people. So the easiest way would be through me. I could give you my email address. Yeah, we don't have a site or anything, but that's part of the larger picture of becoming more connected to the world. And we want to do this initiative that we have. It's basically changing the African narrative. We want to change the African narrative from corruption and big man syndrome, one country at a time. We want to make Africa the continent that's made for great business and for really smart people like the ones in this room.
Thank you. Can we do the voting thing, guys? And personally, I'm interested to have a chat with you, Tanya, after this. I think we could do something together with Hookup Dinner. Next pitch apparently is cancelled, right? Okay, they're not here. So we'll move on to the next pitch. Samuel Onjiru. Are you here, Sam? Sam, going once, going twice. What's here? All right. That means we've got a slot. Does anybody want to pitch? Random. And you're not from you're not from NILAB. Yeah. The two. Yeah. All right. Good. So you're going to have to introduce yourself, give your Twitter handle, so that people can be able to follow you online.
Good evening. So I pose a question to the audience. How many of you had old Sunny radios, Nokia 33 tons, all the fridges and TVs that you had to burn really hard to power on back in the 90s? Yeah, 90s kids. So so what happened to them? Anyone? What happened to them? Let me answer you. You created waste. This is bad news. You created electronic waste. My name is Alex Matibo. I am the founder and CEO of eLab, a startup that is eradicating electronic waste in Africa. So this is good news. Eradicating something that you created. So how do we do this? So many individuals in Africa have electronic waste. We have over 17,000 tons of e-waste coming to Africa because our politicians were really lazy to come up with bills that govern the European countries from bringing electronic waste to Africa. So in short, it's legal for the United States to come and dump electronic waste in Africa. So eLab eradicates electronic waste by transforming this electronic waste into really creative ornaments for the fashion industry and for the interior decor business. So I'm going to show you some of my designs, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask. So if you have your old Sunny radio, your old Nokia 3310, you make it part of our creative process where you take your old Sunny radio and you become part of a product that's going to be launched to the market. One, you stand up against electronic waste in Africa, and two, you become part of an amazing product that has been launched to the market, made exclusively out of electronic waste. So we ensure that dump sites near you, your own store that has your electronic waste. It's free from e-waste, it's hazard-free, and you have a really amazing product in the market, which will become part of the creative process once we identify you as a client with electronic waste. So here's some of my designs. Just pass the phone, flip them through, and if you're really interested in one of the designs, feel free to contact me at www.facebook.com/Creations, and you become part of an amazing creation of products for the interior decor business in Kenya and for the fashion industry, and also you become part of a movement that is eradicating the electronic waste that we have in Africa. Shukran. Thank you. My name is Alex Motivo. Emphasis on Motivo.
All right, so in the place of hero.
Yeah.
In the place of hero, please put in the what is the
Alex Motivo, and then my startup is called E-Lab. Yeah, just pass the phone around. I'm taking questions.
We'll take 2 questions. You understand why?
It's a nice idea. You haven't talked about the products. You're just saying market products. What are those products?
The product is coming to you, then with the phone. Just want them to blow your mind. So I have 2 products, yes? One for the fashion industry. So we make artwork and fashion jewelry exclusively out of e-waste. And then the other ones are for the interior decor business. So we make sculptures, wall art, graffiti, anything that can be created. So creativity is limitless. So we make them exclusively out of electronic waste.
Second question.
Okay, my name is Eugene. I think I like your energy, and I'm not asking a question, but I want to hook you up with a website, a free website. Come to me for this.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
You've been hooked up!
The gentleman in blue.
Yeah, I think I'm that gentleman. Well, my question is, this hardware, don't you think it will be, isn't it harmful to guys, like toxic waste, that kind of stuff?
Thank you. We did lots of research before we launched, and we ensure that the product that is going to come to the consumer is hazard-free. So basically what you use is capacitors and the motherboards and cables and plastic components in the electronic waste. Good news is that they're made of plastic and harmless capacitors. So if they come in contact with your skin and kept at room temperature, not exposed to temperatures over 3,000 degrees Celsius, and you're good.
So you know what to do there, guys. Just put an X under what you deem favorable for. And then we had another final lady who had a hand up. Please just make sure you introduce your name, your Twitter handle, and then.
Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Hi. My name is Cynthia Anyango. My Twitter handle is at Anyango_Cynthia. I'm founder at Ujirani app. Basically, okay, first, how many know their neighbors? 10 of their neighbors. 9, 8. Oh my God. Okay, 1. Oh, I should have started 0. 2. Like, I'm serious. Okay, so we have an app called Jirani. It's basically built on top of the Nyumba Kumi initiative. So personally, I didn't know my neighbors. So we thought about coming with an application that enables you to know your neighbors. So this is what happens. 10 of you get to know each other. I know mostly you don't have time to meet from time to time. So after knowing each other, basically you choose an admin, a chairman, someone who can head a group. So the person downloads our app from the Play Store, and it goes through a registration process, which is 4 steps. First, they create their profile. Second, they put the app name, your location, like your group name, then the location. Then secondly, thirdly, they upload the neighbor's contacts into the application. Immediately that process is done, an SMS notification is sent to all the neighbors telling them you've been added to group XYZ, download the app and join. So thirdly, fourth, he goes and he chooses the service providers. These are the people who provide services to your neighborhood. Like let's say you're guarded by G4S, you choose G4S. You also get to choose an ambulance service and a fire station that can service you in case of a fire. So after that, all of you come and join your app. You complete your profile, putting basic details, your name, who you are, things like those. After that, all of you are into one application whereby you can communicate. Like you can tell your neighbors, I have a party, I have this and this. You also have an access to a calendar that enables you to do joint events. Like you can say, this weekend we have a party, next weekend garbage collection is huge, there's no water. You can also compose notifications that are sent to all your neighbors. One interesting feature we have in our app is a panic button. So once you have any emergency, you press the button, has 3 options. Security, ambulance, fire station. If it's security, it sends a response to your service provider and also sends a notification to all your neighbors so that they know this person has this problem and we can help. So failure of the service provider to get into time, your neighbors come.
It's very exciting, but okay, I live in a place, a lot of the people were in the neighborhood at my mom's age, right? And they don't exactly interact with the internet. So does that mean it leaves out that whole demographic?
We are a startup company, so we are putting our application into SMS so that you can just have simple SMS notifications and alerts for people like those. Also, we educate them. We do mass education to make people aware.
Oh, so it's a business, right?
Yes.
So what's your business model? And before you answer, there's this article I read recently that every 20-year-old starting a business are trying to get somebody to click an ad.
Our business model, we have a subscription model where service providers will pay to get enlisted into the app, a monthly fee, because they charge our intent to respond to an emergency situation. So that's our business model. Like we can have the ads later on our SMS component, not the application.
Final question.
I think I believe or
Okay. So we verify our users so that we can make sure everyone who comes on board is genuine. Another thing, this is a community policy. That's why we have the app in the first place. If the neighbors think that because your profile will be visible to your neighbors, if they think it's the wrong profile, they get to report you because there's a part for report suspicious people or incidents around you.
Maybe I didn't hear you, or maybe I came in late, but did you mention that you've been incorporated maybe police stations around the place that these people are living?
Yes, the report incident area, people get to report common incidents that go to the police direct so that they can handle those issues.
So your application is more the Kenya police and
Maybe it's a government sponsored thing. Maybe it could be a government sponsored thing.
No.
I didn't get your name. You said your name is? Cynthia. All right. So in the program at the end, in the place of Simon, and then make your vote. So now that we're done with that part, what I need everybody of us to do is tear this down the middle, and as soon as you've done your vote, pass the paper. This way. The main program. If you're done, just lift your hand so that the guys can collect. All right, now we are about to have a keynote. So we've shifted the program around a bit in respect of time for our rainmaker, who needs to dash out after he's given us his pearls of wisdom. Let's just pass the program along as soon as you've done your voting. All right, I'm going to introduce Dr. Isaac Rutenberg, and I'm going to give you his short bio, which is on LinkedIn here. Dr. Isaac Rutenberg is the director of the Center of Intellectual Property and Information Technology Law at Strathmore Law School in Nairobi, Kenya. At CIPIT, Dr. Rutenberg is training the next generation of Kenyan IP lawyers, building the IP infrastructure of Kenya and East Africa, introducing skills that are otherwise rare or unavailable, e.g. patent drafting, freedom to operate, and patentability analysis. Encouraging suitable IP policies in government and the private sector. And so I'm going to read that last part. Encouraging suitable IP policies and government and the private sector, and conducting original research on the impact of IP in Kenya and East Africa. Feel free to access programs such as an IP clinic, an IP blog, and a website with unique IP information. CIPIT has the goal of making IP expertise accessible to all entrepreneurs and businesses. CIPIT is the public lead institution for Creative Commons in Kenya and is a member of the Open African Innovation and Research Training Project. More information is available on www.cipit.org. I'd like you guys to welcome Dr. Isaac.
Hello. Hi. Very excited to be back in my lab. I always like to come back here. Spent quite a lot of time over yonder at iHub, so it's good to see old faces. Well, not old, but those aren't kind of old. But, yeah, so I wanted to first thank the organizers very much for springing this on me at the last minute to come in and give a talk to you all. But I'm very happy to do that. What we do at CIPIT is give talks to people such as yourselves and support innovation and entrepreneurship. So how many of you have seen me or heard me speak before? Okay, good, very good. So the rest of you, I don't know. Well, we'll see how things go. Okay, so I'm going to, I have 30 minutes. No, I have 20 minutes plus questions. Okay, good. Now, when he said law and IP, I'm sure some of you started to think, oh gosh, when is there? Entrepreneurs tend not to like lawyers. They tend not to interact so well with lawyers because generally lawyers are around for one thing, most entrepreneurs believe, and that is to take your money. Which to some extent is true, because lawyers have to earn a living too, so everyone is out to take their money. We're not very different. But if you feel uncomfortable with me being a lawyer, you can also think of me as a scientist. So I'll give you a bit of background. Oh, sorry, first I wanted to mention the bow tie. This is my attempt at a Halloween costume. If you get close to it, you'll see little eyeballs. My son loves it and said, you have to wear a bow tie today. That particular bow tie, a larger collection of bow ties
which I'll explain about at the end of the talk as well. So now, me, background. So I'm originally from America. I'm now American Kenyan, and have been an intellectual property lawyer for the last 10 years or so, partly in Silicon Valley, partly here. So I started out as a chemist, did chemistry, got a PhD, decided I didn't want to be in the laboratory anymore, and quit after I finished the PhD. So then I went to cooking school, which my wife to this day says was the best investment she ever made. So if your wife sends you to cooking school, be happy, but it's actually there is an ulterior motive behind that. So then after a year of cooking school, I went to law school and did that for 4 years while I was working as a patent lawyer, patent agent. And by the end of 4 years of law school, my wife said, okay, you're done, no more school, stop. Because by that time I had been in school longer than most of you have been alive, I think. 25 years. How many of you are under 25? Yeah, that's a lot of you. So I stopped going to school and got a proper job, did the IT lawyer thing, then moved to Kenya, and here I am today. So that's me. I founded THUDtv, we already discussed THUDtv, CIPIT, and we help entrepreneurs, we help IT entrepreneurs, but also because I have chemistry background, not just IT in IT, but IT everywhere. So if you have a non-IT invention, we'd love to hear from you. All right. I have one message for you. You're supposed to have a 3-point speech, but I really only have a 1-point speech because I usually can't remember more than 1 point anyway. And when I was writing the speech, I couldn't remember my other 2 points. So my 1 point is there's no one size fits all in terms of intellectual property for building businesses, and you'll see why I say that by the end. So I'm not here to lecture you on what is intellectual property. Nothing is more hideous or horrible to think about than getting a what is intellectual property speech on a Friday evening. So I won't do that. What I will do is tell you stories, and I'll tell you 6 or 8 stories, something like that. If I'm going too fast or if you can't hear me, just let me know. Or if you have questions. Actually, I prefer to answer questions. So if you have questions, do ask them. And you can interrupt me. I'm actually a lecturer at Strathmore, so I lecture, and sometimes when I'm speaking, even not lecturing, I might call on people. So don't worry about it if I do. It's not personal or anything. All right, stories. So these stories are intended to give you an understanding of what I mean when I say one size does not fit all for intellectual property. And hopefully you'll see why by the end. So the first story is a company that's roughly 10 years old now. It was started by 2 gentlemen who saw an emerging technology and said, this is going to change the world, but it's really hard to navigate. Navigate's the wrong word. It's really hard to use. And so they saw a supporting technology that was not very well adapted and said, we can do better than that. They created an improvement on that technology, patented it, and then, as they say, the rest is history. The improvement now is globally known. It has 68% market share in its market. It's one of the largest companies in the world, and you almost can't go anywhere without someone using the term. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? What? Huh? Didn't hear anyone suggesting Google. That was Google, a startup 10 years ago, now one of the largest companies in the world, right? So it was a startup, possibly where you are today. And they patented their PageRank system. They got a lot of patents. They actually have thousands of patents now, or most of them they bought from other people. But they are an entirely technology company, and they're doing lots and lots of patents around their software, around other things such as Google Glass, et cetera, et cetera. The next story is, let's see, an example of one guy who said, I'm a social kind of guy, and there's a problem with the way we socialize in university. and decided to devote his entire life basically to improving that. His product now is also patented on a number of levels, has also roughly 60% market share, and you probably can guess what I'm talking about now. Facebook, exactly. Many patents. In fact, the news feed, which you're all familiar with, is patented. So anyone in the United States who tries to create a similar thing to newsfeed is infringing. That's just one of their many patents. And that was done over 8 years. All right, next example. So this is a unknown individuals who did this. And they saw a need among a certain demographic of people, low-income people, and they saw that there was a system that could service that low-income demographic, and created that using extremely basic technology that anyone can access, almost anyone, pretty much anyone. They did not patent it, and 6 years later, it has like a 99% market share in terms of users. Does anyone know what I'm talking about here? This is M-Pesa. This is M-Pesa. Like, I've seen some crazy statistics about M-Pesa. You probably have too. Who knows if any of them are true? They said over 100 billion Kenyan shillings per month is transacted on M-Pesa. Nobody knows the market share, but it's huge. It's probably over 90%. No, it's got to be over 99% in terms of amounts transferred. And how do they do this with no patents? Is the question. So for those of you who say, I don't want patents, or I don't even know what a patent is, or I really don't want to bother with it, you can do this. You can do innovation. You can build businesses without it. Patents are not the be-all, end-all. In fact, they're a tool which a lot of people do use and a lot of people don't use. And that's one great example of where you don't need it. In this case, how did they do it? Anyone want to venture a guess? Well, my suggestion is they were first to market. They quickly gained a market share of a large share of users, and they continued to improve the system. The system is very basic, it works, and so many people are using it that if you are going to enter, if you are a new user and you're going to enter the market, you have 3, 4, 5 different options. Who do you pick? Of course, the first one you pick is the one with the most reach. So that is how, and I use this example for IT startups because it's so relevant to mostly IT. For non-IT, it's not as relevant, but it's still relevant always, but it's very relevant. If you want to build a business, so we hold an IT clinic at Strathmore, and people come in with all kinds of crazy ideas. Some of them are clearly very good, some of them not, but I don't judge. I just tell people, if it's an IT industry, if it's an IT innovation, probably 20% of the time I'll recommend patenting. The rest of the time I'll say, you need to be first on the market with the best product that's usable, and people will use it, and then everyone will start using it. That's also what Facebook did. And finally, on the really good examples, I want to use Brick. Anyone heard of Brick? Some people ought to have heard of Brick. Developed pretty much here, and it's very new, so I can't really say if it's very successful on the long run, but I would say it's extremely successful in the short run from a marketing perspective, if nothing else. But it saw a need for accessible wireless internet, accessible internet access, and the need was that most people in the developed world don't have this problem, but most people on the internet actually are not in the developed world. They're actually in the developing world, and they have this problem of access, of availability. So they developed this product, and it did not patent it as far as I know, but it's doing quite well. All right, so those are the good stories. Now I'll get into a few of the challenges. I like to use the word challenges because if I say disasters, it might be a little judgmental. I don't want to be judgmental. The first example is a gentleman who came to me at Strathmore and said, I have a great invention, it's going to change the world. Okay, everybody who comes to me says, I have a great invention, it's going to change the world. So I didn't think anything different of this one. But in fact, this really is a good invention, and it may change the world. The problem he had was that provisional patent application at KIPI, KIPI is, I think, the Industrial Property Institute. I see there. What he didn't know is that a provisional patent application expires in 1 year, and there's no option to revise it. So he thought, he came to me 3 years after he filed it. He was really happy because he thought he had patent protection. No one had told him that it was expired 2 years ago. So he felt very down. It was hard to tell him, by the way, your patent's expired, you actually have no assets, right? That's really hard to tell people, but I did. And so we sat for several hours and we figured out other ways to patent an invention. That's a very tricky thing to do, and I'm not going to go into the details of patenting, but only to tell you that well, all of you would have an IP expert look at your invention, your business basically, and do an analysis of your IP, so that if you have something that's patentable, they should be able to tell you what it is. So we found something. We found another patent application. It's now at WIPO, the World Intellectual Property Organization, et cetera, et cetera. He has gone into markets around East Africa. He's actually getting lots and lots of copycats, which he thought was really bad. A lot of people come to me and say, how do I stop people from stealing my invention? And I always answer them the same way. I say, if nobody is trying to steal your invention, it's probably not a very good invention. So you want people to steal your invention. You want people to steal. The Stampesa example, again, you want lots of competitors in the market, but you want to be faster, quicker, et cetera, et cetera. So investigating options, et cetera, et cetera. It's challenging though, because he's finding out that even legal rights, when the people who are running the patent system are in the back pocket of the people who are infringing. So it's challenging, that's all I can say. But we're working on it. All right, the next example, and I've got two more, so I'm almost done. This one is I'm sure you've never heard, okay, how many of you have heard of Pumpy Nut? Okay. How many of you want to do social enterprise? Sort of, I want to help the world, not necessarily make lots of money. No one? One, two, okay, good. It's not something to be ashamed of. Making money is great, but you know, it's not the end of it. It's not the be all and all either. So this gentleman who is a doctor, I think, realized that it's really hard to re-nourish severe malnutrition. So children who are severely malnourished take weeks and weeks of traditional treatment methods, of drip IVs, et cetera, very, very difficult to do it. And you need lots and lots of resources. And it's not very successful because of those reasons. So he said, well, there's got to be a better way to do this. And he started investigating. He discovered, or decided, or whatever, that peanut butter was a good base for solving this problem. And in fact, he developed a composition called Pumpy Nut, which is really fortified peanut butter, or glorified peanut butter, if you will. Unfortunately, he didn't have enough money to finish development. So he wanted to do a startup that he had very good intentions. He wanted to save the world. He was a doctor. He'd seen lots of malnourishment, and he wanted to help that. But he didn't have money to finish. So he sold the rights to Pumpy Nut, the product, to a company. That private company finished development, began producing, got a contract with the UN, and patented it. And is now the only company in many countries around the world that can produce this, and they only supply it to the UN. So this product, which was intended for benefiting very, very malnourished children, now increasing the revenue quite substantially of a private company. And the doctor was not very happy about this, but he had no option because he had sold the rights. So another example of a problem where he didn't quite, I don't think he quite understood what he was doing. And the outcome was nothing like what he wanted it to be. Okay, finally, some of you may have heard of Faulu Kenya. Yes, sure. Yeah. And this is probably the most applicable to all of you. They decided to create a business platform where you can use your M-Pesa or whatever money, mobile money transfer to get loans, advances. So they wrote it down, the system. They took it to Safaricom. Well, first they copyrighted it. Then they took it to Safaricom. And under an NDA, they said, we'd like to partner with you. Safaricom read it, said, very interesting, but we're not interested, which is what Safaricom almost always does. We're not interested. We have this under, or no, they didn't say anything much more than that. So the court records, and you can tell this is not going well because I'm going to now cite court records, basically said, Paulu Kenya had an idea, gave it to Safaricom. Safaricom, 6 months later or whatever, lo and behold, you see M-Tuaro, which is the exact same thing. And so Paulu Kenya sued, took them to court, said that was our idea, we have it copyrighted. And does anyone know the outcome of that case? Anyone? Anyone been to law school? No. So the outcome was, sorry, Paulu Kenya, copyrights don't cover the idea. They only cover the piece of paper which you have presented to us. So indeed, they had a copyright. Indeed, the paper was copyrighted and everything, but it was useless to them. And basically, so Safaricom did nothing wrong under the law. So another example of know the IP you have, know how to use it, and know how I'm going to use it. Of course, that's a sort of ongoing case, I think. So, there were other issues, NDAs, et cetera, very complicated situation, but that was the basic. So, the take-home message is that IP, intellectual property, is a tool. To me, it's a tool that works very well if you understand how to use it. And can really bite you in the rear end if you don't know how to use it. And all too often, people come to me after the horse has left the barn, and they want to close the door, but it's too late. So I guess my take-home message is this. Go and find someone to help you in this area. But my bigger take-home message is the one that CIPID always pushes for, and that is IP is not something you always want to go and protect everything you can. So at CIPID, we don't just always say protect, protect, protect. A lot of times, the answer is don't protect. Actually, give away some of what you have created. The best example I can think of for this, well, there are lots and lots of examples. One of them is Angry Birds. Gave away their first product, hooked basically the whole planet on their product, and then started charging for premium versions, right? So the answer for them was don't protect, actually give it away, and later on start selling your improvements. That's this is so common now. There's even a name for it. It's called the freemium model, and it works really well. So that's sort of it. The last thing I want to say is about the bow tie again, and this is advice to startups. So I run a startup basically. CIPID is a startup. We've been around for 2 years, and we're doing pretty well as any startup. We've got issues and we've got successes and failures and all that. But one thing I realize is that branding is incredibly important. Branding is, of course, a lot of intellectual property, trademarks, social media. How many of you know that your social media is intellectual property? And in fact, good. Thank you, Jessica. It's extremely important. Sometimes the most important asset that you have is the way you reach your customers, and that is through social media. Your Twitter handle is not very different from a trademark of your name, right? It's how people recognize the source of your tweets, is your Twitter handle, what's unique. So the bow tie is really for branding effects, actually. If you remember nothing else from tonight, you'll probably remember the funny-looking guy with the bow tie, who's a self-proclaimed geek, and happy to be that. And then when you think intellectual property, yeah, I heard someone talk about that. Oh yeah, he had a funny-looking bow tie. Oh yeah, CIPID. Let's go look at CIPID, and maybe we'll be able to use their services. So I'm not suggesting you all go wear bow ties, because if you do, then I won't be unique anymore, and that will diminish my brand. But find something that distinguishes yourself, and be unique, be memorable to the people you interact with, particularly funders, clients too, pretty much everyone. So be memorable, don't be forgettable. All right, I'll take questions.
You can throw your questions.
Thanks for the great talk. I actually wanted to find out, it seems like there's a very delicate balance between when to protect and when to let go. So how do you know when that moment is?
If I could answer that question, I wouldn't be here. I'd be on a private island somewhere with my Bugatti and whatever. I don't know is the answer, but I, well, actually the answer that lawyers should always give is the same, and that is it depends. That's the only answer I ever give actually, and then I explain what I mean. It really depends. It depends on what your goals are, what your product is, what your market is, who's going to use it. Angry Birds worked because a lot of people are like me. I never pay for apps, never. I hate paying for apps. Okay, one exception, I paid for one app in my life. Okay, and so their free Angry Birds was great for several reasons. My son loves to play it. It's great for airplanes. You can do that for hours. And for me, it was interesting for a few minutes, but the model really works for them. That doesn't mean it'll work for you. It depends. So this particular gentleman I talked about who came to us, who had his patent expired, I do not recommend that he go and give away his product free. It's not IT based, but it's an individual analysis is really the only way. And I'm not the expert on everything or probably anything, but I can at least help and I can at least give you options. Really, it's about options. And at the end of the day, you have to pick one of them. You have to have a business model, and you go with it and you make it work. So maybe, I don't know, the answer is it depends. Yeah.
Okay, I've got two questions that have come up on Twitter.
Oh, nice.
This is somebody who's in South Africa, he's watching on the live stream at OP Sun. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
I've tweeted with him already. Or him or her.
Him. Okay. So he says, how can startups balance the cost of patenting their innovation against possible future litigation? So that's the first question from him. The second question is, how advisable is it to exit but selling? How advisable is it to exit but selling but still retain IP ownership in part or full? Is it possible?
Okay. First question, balancing costs. Difficult. It's very difficult, actually. So unfortunately, there are almost no people in Kenya, other than myself and maybe one person I know, who can draft a patent. So the options, if you don't come to us, are to send it abroad and get it done for lots and lots of money. I've seen them drafted for $10,000 US. I've seen drafted for more, actually, but it's expensive. Intellectual property, and particularly patents, is a system that was designed by rich people to make sure they stay rich. And it works really, really well. So generally, you have to have lots of money to enter the system, which is unfortunate. With the exception of copyright. Copyright is free and automatic. You don't actually have to register copyright to get them. So all of the software you create is copyrighted automatically. And you can sue under copyright as soon as it's infringed. But how do you balance it? Well, I think the way to balance it is to first know when to get it, know when a patent is going to be useful. People come to me and say, can I get a patent for my business? The answer is almost always yes. I can get a patent out of almost anything. The bigger and better question is, will the patent be useful to me? Will it be an asset that I can that will actually make me money? Or do something good for my business? And the answer to that is much, much more commonly no. And so a good patent attorney who's not necessarily out to just make a lot of money is one answer to that question. And of course, hard to find, but we can help it. The second question was selling as a business model. Well, Silicon Valley was based, in the 2000s, early 2000s, the dot-com bubble. That was basically the business model, was build a business that has no revenue and just looks really good on paper and sell it. Sometimes you have patents, sometimes you don't. That doesn't work so well anymore, although in some areas it will always be present in some areas. It's fine as a business model if you do it well and you understand that, like most businesses, 99%, 95% of the time you're going to fail and you're going to lose out. I mean, entrepreneurs, how many of you have failed on endeavor and started again? Yeah, that's the fail. And just, I mean, I've never heard of anyone, almost never, with a first idea that hits it big. That's very unusual. So we'll try it, I guess. Other question? On anything. There's a question back there, possibly. No question.
I have a question.
You have a question.
Yes.
There's another one right there, actually.
You mentioned to have Silicon Valley experience.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe we should draw so much inspiration from you. Could you tell us more about it?
Oh, Silicon Valley is a fantastic place. I love Silicon Valley. The best joke I can think of from Silicon Valley is billionaires. It's very wearing jeans and t-shirts. The billionaires also pretty easily. They're the ones with holy jeans and holy t-shirts. So in Silicon Valley, it's a very different environment. Here, you have to wear a suit. You have to drive up in a Mercedes. You have to, you have to be in order to be respected, right? In Silicon Valley, if you do any of that stuff, you'll be taken very much like foreigners. In fact, they'll probably, if I were to ever show up to a client meeting with a suit on, they would ask, "Did you come from a funeral? I'm so sorry." Or they would think I was from East Coast or something, perhaps. It's interesting. So you have to, I mean, I used to ride my bike to client meetings, and I would get lots of points from the clients for showing up on a bicycle. Okay, sweating and everything. They didn't care. That was points. Here, if I were to do that, I don't think people would let me in the front door. The person at the front would say, "No, I'm sure this is a mistake. Go away." So it's a very different environment, and it's so free. It's so free. Like it's just so interesting. And you know, I love when people say we're trying to build a Silicon Savannah here, but the situation that led to Silicon Valley is so different from what is here. I don't think it's really a good idea to try and emulate what happened there. It's just not at all comparable. So I'm long for the day when we'll come up with a better name for Kenya or whatever, you know. You have a better one. Oh, good. So do I.
I actually disagree with Silicon Savannah. I'm glad to see that you are disrupting the status quo. We don't manufacture silicon, yeah? We are creating what we call a digital economy, using the power of technology to enable people to get online. We're digital economy.
I love that. That's great. There was a question there for
I'd like to ask, maybe let's say in a situation whereby there are two founders, like the Google founder, how do you like work around the patent? I know the patent is like you have two people working on an idea.
Well, usually the simplest way is to have the company own the patent. So if you don't have a company yet, then it becomes a bit more difficult, and then it's something you deal with contractually. In other words, you say, we're going to partner up and to jointly own, or I'm going to own, or whatever, do some sort of an agreement in the contract. Tell you how important the contracts are. I know I'm a lawyer, it's true. Sometimes people have come to me and said, "We've got a problem here, what do we do? The ownership, there's that issue." And it could have been so easy by having a contract at the beginning that stated, no one ever thinks there's going to be a problem. If your startup fails, I guarantee you there will be no conflicts amongst the founders. If your startup goes viral and becomes a company, I guarantee you there will be amongst the founders. So start with this get contracts in place, have them done by lawyers, don't just download them off the internet. And, deal with it that way. And for specific stuff, I can talk to you offline. Maybe not today, but by the way, my email address and everything, well, you can contact us through CIPIT, which is again www.cipit.org. We have email address sort of thing. I've been tweeting here for a while. Yeah, so I have to dash out of here pretty much quickly because my wife is pregnant and doesn't want me to be here very late. So she's like to speak right now.
Really appreciate taking time out and share your thoughts of wisdom with us. So, just before we get the drinks and grab the food, we're going to have the networking mixer. We'll keep it very short. Just in the interest of time, we want to make sure that we finish off by 9 o'clock as promised. We normally have Hookup Dinner for our website. It excites me purely because I know a lot of people like me who are shy, but they want to know new people. And it's hard to see it and you want to approach it, but they don't know what to do and what not. The networking mixer helps to break those kind of barriers and create conversations. So I see a room here, I don't even know how to estimate. It's like randomly in this room. Let's break up into groups of 6 and make sure that you're in a group of people that you do not know. Try as hard as possible. If you came with your mate, don't link up with them. Make sure that you're linking up with people you do not know. It's going to be each. Just introduce yourself, what you do, what you're about, potentially exchange business cards, drinks, randomly. I'm sure we can do it. Let's split up now. Let's move fast, guys. We've got exactly 10 minutes to finish this part of the program before we announce the winning countries. Random groups of 10. We call it the networking mixer. Don't be in your comfort zone. Get out from your seats, move, find people you do not know. Find people that's it. Random groups of 10. Random groups of 6. Yes, 6. Sorry, man. It's usually 10. It's really small. Each.
Yeah. Oh, it's really late. Okay.
All right, guys. We're going to continue after the program is over. Can we get back? No, it's nice, but we've got to get back. Just to wrap up so we can have drinks and food. Then we get back, guys. We're going to continue after the program is over. I promise. The group standing there, I promise you can continue after. All right. How was that? How was the networking mixer for you? I just need the insights. Did it work? Do you like it? Is it a waste of time? For you guys? How was it? So, okay, so you got to meet new people, and that was your value for you. All right. Can we get feedback from somebody else? What did you enjoy about the networking mixer?
Basically, this is a networking thing, and meeting people that you don't know. That's what being an entrepreneur is all about, you know. So it was fun meeting the guys that I met, and personally, I would have loved if people were switching, so that once I meet these guys, I can meet more people, and once I meet those people, I can meet more people, and even more people. Yeah, simply.
Okay, cool stuff.
The diversity. Everyone comes from different fields. It's not just the tech people I'm used to hang around with. People who do tech, entrepreneurs, many different cool things.
Did you think the time was enough? Yes, no, sorry? No. No. Good then. Means you can continue the conversation after. Right? I think so too. All right, we're going to announce the winner and close off so that we can have food and drinks before we get too cold. There's a Friday night of pillow. Okay. You guys voted for Alex from Eden. Alex, can you come up? And he took a bold step. He just stepped out like, I want to pitch. Look at him. You guys liked it. What was it? Was the confidence?
Now I need my Kenyan converters. That's 2,000, right? I need to put in 4,000. You sure? I'm not sure. I'm gonna quote you on this.
So for the past few days, we've been walking around exploring Nairobi. These guys, every time I come across a figure, I'm like, this is 1,000 rand. How much is it in Kenyan shillings? Just pops up, like, they know dollars, they know everything. I don't know. Ask us for sure. So we're getting it in South African rand, it's 2,000 rand. That's what we get on the platform at the Hookup Dinner. And it's 16,800 Kenyan shillings. Would it make a difference?
Possible. I'm going to stay. I really appreciate the enthusiasm. I really like how you've been resting up. We've been operating for less than 1 year, but you've been able to make a tremendous change. Where your usual change in Andorra does not die because you have US carelessly hanging down. You also become part of an amazing product globally. So get in touch with Elam for facebook.com/Elam Creations.
and become part of an amazing creative process. And again, I really thank you for the voting. Shukran.
Good stuff. Please speak to Bernie. Eye connection. When my partner's not around, your money is in the bank. So speak to that guy and make sure that you sort your cash first. Thank you so much for pitching, man. All right. Guys, just in closing, really appreciate you taking time out. You know, when I first started this movement, I never realized it would spend now. And it would allow us to connect with new people literally every month. Because it's never the same people that we connect. I think that's trying to co-create with other people and trying to share ideas. And as a community of startups, success comes from collaboration. It doesn't come from individual action. I'll give you a quick story about our team. We call it Team Havoc in South Africa. So the local team that we formed here, you must remember, your Team Havoc. We're all about changing the status quo and just bring about the crazy ways. We are a group of 8 startups from the head office team in South Africa, Joburg, and we're an event specialist team. So you get guys that do videography, and that's what they do for a living. We have guys that do photography, they do that for a living. You got guys that do PR, what they do. And that's how we form our teams. We look for people that are passionate about what they're doing, and then we make sure that we look at them. In doing this, what we are trying to do is bridge the gap in terms of capacity for events. We're trying to create quality events by allowing startups to train on the platform in terms of events. And the gel together in an environment that allows them, and in fact it enables them to go and service just about any big corporate or any big organization out there can be looking for services. I mean, the meetings and conferences sector is one of the fastest rising sectors in the world. And there's a lot of opportunity. There's events happening every day. There's somebody doing a conference or a meeting somewhere, somehow, every day. Catering is required every day. Tech is used at all sorts of events. And for us, we're saying, as soon as the team gels, as soon as the team gets through this acceleration model where they get to learn through their mistakes and get to learn of each other, there's so much more value that they get of that. And the other thing is you start sharing metrics, you start sharing the clients. I mean, if you service in Samsung and you just so happen to be within the same space as the team that you're operating in, they might just share when the client is looking for somebody else that operates in the space. That is the beauty of it for us. And we currently are a team of 60 startups across South Africa. And in Botswana, we've got 2 cities, which is Gaborone and Francistown. As we are having the Hookup Dinner here, our other team from South Africa went to activate in Botswana. So we're hoping that with the local team that we form here in Nairobi, we can have the same sort of collaboration. We're going to be having our first conference next year, and we're hoping the team that comes out of here will be part of the conference down in South Africa, and we'll make sure that we have a great time. There's a lot of fast factors that are doing crazy things. In terms of the pictures that come off the platform, for us, what we figured out in South Africa is that the moment we expose them to media, I mean, we've got, for example, a guy we call Skinny Spoon. He manufactures socks, happy socks. It's all I wear. It's crazy. I mean, I'm wearing really weird socks, and it doesn't go with my suit. I don't wear suits, just by the way. And he came with a simple idea. He's a tall guy that his pants just, there's no pants that really cover his shoes all the way. And he had to find a way of making himself look funky whilst he's walking around. And by realizing that if he could come up with happy socks and become the first South African guy that produces socks, that would be his innovation. He just happened to land onto the Hookup Dinner platform. He pitched. CNN picked up on him, and they covered him on CNN African Startups. He sold the shop through the roof. He's been covered all over. He can't keep up with demand in terms of sales. And that's the opportunity that the Hookup Dinner offers you. We make sure that we get your story out there so that investors, media, and whoever is looking to invest in can find you. I mean, guys like Standard Bank, the bank that we are partnering with in South Africa, they're making sure that they're looking for a pipeline of entrepreneurs in the fintech space. And we're hoping that by being part of this community and continue to be a part of us and continue to help us to grow and growing together with the Hookup Dinner community in collaboration with all the hubs around, thanks to Nyla for reaching out to us and hosting us and being a part of this. There's so much more that we can do if we go together as opposed to doing it individually. And we're hoping we can do that well. I'd like to thank you, and let's have drinks, let's have food, it's all for free, thanks to our sponsors. We normally get startups to buy food, so we're doing something new in Kenya, and yeah, it should be interesting how it goes. Thank you guys. Good evening.